Hey, welcome into the Main Street Maury High School Football Preview Show for Week 5. We are officially at the halfway point of the 11-week regular season schedule for high school football here in Tennessee. I'm Maurice Patton, sports editor at Main Street Maury. That's Chris Yow, co-host of Main Street Sports Today, and we're going to take you through this week's slate of games in and around Maury County, and we use that phrase a little loosely because we start with a game that will be played up off Briley Parkway in Nashville as Columbia Academy opens Division IIA Middle Region play against perennial state title contender Donaldson Christian, and it's going to be an interesting matchup, I think.
Yeah, one of the things about Columbia Academy is that it's hard to get that Middle Tennessee Christian game out of your head. They were right there in that game, overtime. At no point did you feel like, Columbia Academy was out of it. Mm-hmm. And that's a really good football team. Then what they did at Webb School the very next week, you go, okay, they've got a great offense, and so you kind of get to a point where you're thinking, all right, well, maybe Columbia Academy's turned that corner. Then the last 2 weeks struggled a little bit. That being said, I still think that this team is the team that we saw in week 1.
I'd agree with that. I think this is a team that is very talented offensively, and I think they can get done just enough defensively to win some ball games. I don't think that Middle Tennessee Christian was an aberration. I think you saw out of them what they're capable of from week to week. I think Friendship Christian's really good. And
well,
I think Huntington is pretty good. So I just think that, they lost to 2 teams that were better than them, and unfortunately that Middle Tennessee Christian game didn't go their way. But I think that 1-3 record is maybe a little bit misleading.
Friendship Christian has beaten both of these teams by basically the same number of points.
Right.
One additional point against Donaldson Christian, but yeah, I mean this is a game that 3-1 versus 1-3. I don't know how much stock I would put into records in this one.
Right.
It's going to be a good football game.
It's
Monte Baldwin for Columbia Academy has been fantastic.
And bounced back from a tough night against Friendship Christian, put up 193 yards in that loss to Huntington last weekend. So yeah, this is a good football team. This is going to be a good football game. And I think it's going to be worth the drive. I hope it is
since you're going.
That drive. Yeah. Also, speaking of driving, Columbia Central in Region 5-5A play is heading south down Highway 43, passing a couple of nice eateries on the way. Hint, hint.
I won't be passing at least one of them.
You'll be stopping.
I'll be stopping at one of them.
There you go. There you go. Taking on Lawrence County in a historical rivalry here. A lot of purple and gold in this one, but both these teams coming in at 2-2 overall. Columbia Central dropped their region opener last week, 29-27 against visiting Shovel. Really good ball game. Lawrence County comes in 1-0 in region play, defeated Lincoln County 2 weeks ago, 27-21. I think you got 2 fairly evenly matched teams here, and not just from the record standpoint. So I think this is going to be a pretty good one as well.
Mo, we talk so often, especially at the higher levels, about how games are won in the trenches, and this is going to be one of those games that is going to be a matchup of 2 really good
fronts.
Yeah, I was going to say front seven. Front seven
on both sides of the ball,
defense,
yeah.
And then the offensive line from Lawrence County is just phenomenal. We've seen them a couple of times this year, and they're just so dominant. And they've got a 3-headed monster, in the backfield. I didn't realize, and obviously we've said the names of the running backs so many times on this show to this point, but for whatever reason, I never realized that Jacabry Stevenson wasn't one of them.
No,
And
Stevens is
gone.
a wideout.
Well, he's gone. He lives in Chicago.
Played last week.
Well, this is what I'm told as of Monday.
Well, he wasn't a back anyway. He was a receiver,
Still,
but
but we haven't said his name a lot.
No.
One, they don't throw the ball.
right.
But, again, so I just thought that was interesting that, one of the guys that we talked about a lot last year has not been mentioned. And whether or not he lives in Chicago, I don't know. That's just what I was told.
It's a heck of a commute.
That was information I was given from somebody at Lawrence at the Loretto Summertown game last week. So, again, I don't know. But what I will say is that if Lawrence County is going to be successful, he might need to be a big part of it. If he is in fact in Lawrence County.
If he's not, it's going to be kind of tough. But we have talked about that three-headed monster in the ground game for them of Tay Everly, Ian Clayton, and Isaiah Bentley, and they have really they've kind of switched off for one thing, kind of taken turns taking the lead in the run game and been effective, each of them at times. So looking forward to what they're able to put together there. Meanwhile, Caden McCoy, 12 carries, 153 yards, 3 touchdowns in that loss to Shelbyville last weekend, and 2 of those touchdowns were of 60 and 70 yards. Spoke to Judd Dryden, the Shelbyville coach, after the game, and he said that he had told his guys all week that if that guy's in space, he's gone.
Yeah, and look, they've got a couple of guys who can do that. Jordan Davis being one of them, and when you look at the statistics in the red zone rundown from Main Street Maury this past week, Kason Tice has thrown for the 3rd most yards in our coverage area.
12 of 17, I think it was, for 200 yards in that loss to Shelbyville.
I mean, if he can put those kind of numbers up, they're really dangerous.
Well, yeah, because you've got guys like Jordan Davis and Jamar Morris and Malik Smith caught a pass. Caden caught 1 or 2, I think. I mean, you've got some guys that can do some damage.
And all he's got to do is find somebody in the space. Like you said, get it to your athletes in space. Jordan Davis, Caden McCoy, any of those guys get it in the in the flats, and they've got some room. Watch out.
Yeah. Jacabry Stevenson in the Cowbell game last week caught 1 pass for -3 yards.
Okay.
So if he left, it was either Saturday or Sunday.
Well, that was the information I was told.
You were told at the game.
At the game. So
right as he was catching 1 pass for.
That's all I'm saying is I was told he was not playing, that he had left or was leaving. So
stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll find out. I'll certainly find out Friday night while I'm there.
Yes, you will be there. Yeah, and you'll be full when you get there. But anyway, Independence at Beach. 2 teams that are 2-2 each. Beach lost at Collierville and at Riverdale by a total of 9 points. Indy lost their opener at Oakland, and then they lost in overtime to Williamson County rival Centennial, who somebody in Williamson County told me is the best team in the county. Now, I don't know if they forgot about Brentwood or if they're including Brentwood, but.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say second best team.
Anyway, Beach, led by sophomore quarterback Caden Powell, 6'4", 240 sophomore quarterback Caden Powell, threw for a couple of scores, ran for a couple in Beach's win over Portland last week, and not bad for a second sport. He's a Kentucky baseball commit.
Yeah, he's as good as they could have expected after losing their starting quarterback from last year.
Yeah.
You don't expect a guy, to just step in and be 6'4", 240 and play well. He's certainly been a big part of the
No
two.
pun intended.
Yeah, literally big part of the 2 wins that they've had. And look, they like you said, they've lost by a total of 9 points to 2 really good football teams. Collierville is as good as it gets. We saw them last year in the playoffs. Riverdale has been really, really good as well, especially, this year they've kind of rejuvenated that program to a degree. So this, I feel like, is a really interesting game. Obviously, Shackle Island and all of the things that come with that.
Now, you've seen this Independence team.
I have.
It's been their MO thus far to rely on their defense until their offense kind of gets acclimated to the game, it feels like. And they've come on late offensively, obviously, played from behind and forced 3 straight overtimes, winning, two of those? 2 of those. So.
Yeah, look, they've got the talent. There's no question offensively they've got some talent. It's young, it's a little inexperienced, but they've got athletes. But yes, everything happens for Independence based on how well their defense plays. And against Centennial in the first half, they were almost unstoppable. They were unstoppable. The defense was easily the most important part of that team. Had a pick 6. And same with against Page and Franklin. I expect that this is going to be a really difficult matchup for Beach, just because Independence they fly around to the football. They don't give up a lot of chunk plays, and they don't get beat deep, which is very important.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons Centennial struggled, because they couldn't get behind them.
Right. Region 5-2A features 3 unbeaten teams. At least one of those 3 will be beaten by the end of Friday night, because Lewis County goes to Loretto. Both the Panthers and the Mustangs 4-0 overall, 2-0 in league play. And I think question number 1 in this one is the status of Loretto senior quarterback and Union baseball commit, by the way, Carter Daniel.
Yeah, Carter went out with a knee injury last week. It was crazy. When I tell you the sequence of plays, it was a punt from Loretto was muffed by Summertown. Carter Daniel takes the very next play, runs for a first down on the Summertown sideline, goes down with an injury, fumbles on the play at the end of it. Summertown picks it up. So it was effectively like a 42-yard punt with just 2 offensive plays in between, with an offensive play in between. It was very weird. but Carter goes down, came off the field on his own power, which I thought was good.
You would think.
It appeared, they took him out, and with all due respect to Summertown, I don't feel like they felt like they needed him to play in order to win the game. They were already up 14-0. Summertown had not done very much offensively to show that they were going to overcome a 14-point deficit, and of course they did not. So they didn't feel like they needed to play him. They didn't play him,
and the 2 quarterbacks behind
were pretty darn good.
Mason Tidwell on the year is 5 of 7 for 117 yards and a touchdown, and Vinny Veloz, is that how you pronounce it? Threw for a touchdown. Veloz, V-E-L-O-Z. I'm sorry, we aren't quite sure how to pronounce it, but threw for a touchdown in that 35-0 Pegasus Cup win for the Mustangs.
Yeah, they've got guys behind him who can make it play. Mason is as good as Carter.
People don't want to hear that.
But I'm telling you,
people outside of Loretto don't want to hear that.
I'm telling you, he may be as good as Carter Daniel, and they've got weapons on the outside everywhere.
They really do,
and that helps. Mm-hmm. So, to me, this is going to be an interesting game, because I don't think when you look at Lewis County's schedule, I don't think that they've quite played the competition that.
I agree with you, because the key is one of Loretto's wins is over 5A Lawrence County.
Right.
Lewis County doesn't have anything quite like that.
I mean, Creekwood is what, 4A?
3. No, you're right, 4.
Creekwood's 4, and then they've got wins over East Hickman and Hickman County, who we expect. Now, here's the thing. They've beaten everybody pretty good. Outside of Creekwood, that they beat 14-6, 51-8 over Community, 49-7 over East Hickman, 34-6 over Hickman County. It very well could be a shootout on Friday night down in Loretto.
It may be a shootout. My thing is, I'm not sure that Lewis County has seen
the offensive firepower.
The offensive firepower or the athleticism
Nope.
that Loretto brings to the table. And you talk about the people that Loretto's got outside, but Jaden Stoltz and Nicholas McDowell have rushed for a combined 600-plus yards and 7 touchdowns.
Jaden Stoltz, when I say this, you're going to be like, holy crap, you're exactly right. Tim Riggins. He wears the neck.
On the field.
He wears the neck
On
roll.
the field.
He wears the neck roll. He looks like him. He's a bulldozer. When he's got the football, get out of his way, or don't stand on the tracks when the train's coming through kind of stuff. I'm telling you, that guy is a monster. And that makes a huge difference when you force linebackers to stay in the box. And then you're able to get to you get to the corner, it's over.
When you get to the corner, it's over. And when you've got Seymour, Reynolds, and Welch on the outside,
it's very difficult to stop at the 2A level.
Lewis County will have its hands full.
No question.
Spring Hill at James Lawson. We were talking about Centennial a second ago. They bottled up the Lightning last week to the tune of a 35-0 victory there. The first loss for Lawson. Spring Hill 1-3 after being unable to convert a 2-point conversion late.
Now, why did they need to convert the 2-point conversion?
Because they had missed an extra point earlier.
I thought that was the case. I wanted to make sure.
It was 14-0 at the half.
Right.
They scored a touchdown, missed the extra point.
Gotcha.
14-6.
So in order to tie it late, they had to go for 2 and
were unable to do so. Yeah, which was unfortunate because that would have been the first back-to-back wins for Spring Hill since the COVID year. So, be interesting to see what Spring Hill is able to put together offensively because they've got some very effective running backs in Alan Alderson, Trey Isaac, and Avery Martin if they can just get some consistency. And I'm interested to see how they are able to go about that. Interested to see how Lawson bounces back from their first loss.
Yeah, Centennial, again, really good football team. 35-0 is, don't let that fool you if you're Spring Hill. This team still won 3 ball games. I feel like this is a football game that we're going to see 2 teams that really want, because Spring Hill, that's a tough loss after a big win. I really feel like they've got that taste of victory in their mouth.
Right.
And I expect Spring Hill to actually bring a solid offensive performance in this one. I would be shocked if this one isn't a 1-possession game late.
We talked about Summertown a second ago. 0-4 overall, 0-2 in Region 5 2A. They come to Mount Pleasant, the 3rd unbeaten team in Region 5 2A at 4-0, 2-0. Although I'm sure Kid Hartsfield would tell you that that's got an asterisk on it after the miracle at Harpeth last weekend where Caden Davis gets a scoop and score and goes 98 yards with it for the game winner. So Mount Pleasant kind of living on the edge last week, and I'm sure that they will try to take care of business a little earlier this time.
I can't imagine that they want to see a repeat of that. And I bet practice this week was much more intense than last week.
Yeah.
So I expect that they'll be bringing their A game against Summertown,
And
this is not the place you want to be for Summertown.
I don't think it is, unfortunately. But what Summertown does have going for them, though, I think, is that Dan Winfrey won't have to get this team fired up. Because as you said a few days ago, we were talking about something else. These kids see each other at the Sonic.
Yep.
So, I mean, these two are close enough that there's some bragging rights on the line here.
There is, even though there's a county line between them, they are neighboring communities. Mm-hmm. And I think that always plays a big part in these types of games. I think, here's the thing, Summertown was really good between the 20s against Loretto. They just couldn't quite finish really good drives. So, if they can find a way to finish a couple of times, who knows? So right. Mount Pleasant can't come into this game thinking it's going to be a blowout. We're gonna walk through this. It's not going to be easy. Mm-hmm. So, watch out. Don't let Summertown sneak up on you. Speaking
of not easy, Summit in its Region 6-6A opener goes to Brentwood. Summit 1-3 after a couple of heartbreaking losses, 41-35 2 weeks ago at home to Green Hill, 28-27 last weekend to visiting Blackman. Brentwood 4-0, including a 21-18 win in week 2 over Brentwood Academy, which I'm gonna be honest with you, that was a bigger win when it happened than it is right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That being said, I think you have to view the win when it happened. Mm-hmm. And obviously last week, big win against Henry County. It was a close one. Mm-hmm. If it had been in Henry County, who knows, it might go the other way.
Right.
I think, as you mentioned, Brentwood probably the best team in Williamson County. Tough losses for Summit. They're on the cusp. Mm-hmm. If they can get over the edge at any point, I think it could be downhill from there.
Right. Once they get over the hump.
And here's the thing. It gets a lot easier than Brentwood on the back half of this season. Absolutely. So don't let those two games compound into this one, and then don't let this one compound into anything negative on the other side. Go out. Well, one, if you get a win, it's huge. Two, if you don't get a win, it's not the end of the season.
Well, absolutely.
It's not the end of the season because you are just on the edge, and Brian Coleman can get this team over the edge.
And there is nothing that Summit wants to accomplish that they've been precluded from accomplishing to this point.
That's correct.
That sets you up for us telling you who's going to win these games, which we will do when we come back.
This is Chris Yow with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee Sports Editor, 3-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best looking girl, Bananarama. So the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice. Mockingbird Title and Escrow is an attorney-owned and operated full-service title company in Middle Tennessee. We get your deals closed without worry and fuss. We're a family business that offers the highest level of expertise in our industry when it comes to closing and funding your real estate transactions.
And it's a job I really love. I'm passionate about this. I'm enthusiastic about this. I like to think we're pretty well-rounded and can deal with a wide range of needs and a wide range of clients.
Call 615-274-8698 today.
He shoots, and he scores!
Chris Yow, Maurice Patton, here on the Main Street Maury High School Football Preview Show for Week 5. We've told you who's playing. We've given you some insight. Between the two of us, we're going to give you some winners here. Let's start again.
The problem is, Mo, that we always lose the same games. Between the two of us, we've not gone undefeated. We've always picked at least one of the games that we got wrong.
I don't think that's all necessarily been our fault, to be honest. But anyway.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah.
Right.
CA goes to Donaldson Christian.
Columbia Academy, I did not pick them last week. I think they go on the road and get the win this week.
I did pick them last week. And I think this is going to be a great ball game. I'm just not sure that they've got enough defensively to stop DCA, particularly at home. I've got the Wildcats in this one. Columbia Central at Lawrence County. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Columbia Central is going to get the win only because a lot of athletes in this one. Big plays are going to go Columbia Central's way. I think Lawrence County is going to have to grind it out a little bit, but Columbia Central can score quick, and they're going to score a lot.
Again, Columbia Central scored 3 times from 60-plus in their loss, to Shelbyville. Lawrence County gave up some big plays in their loss to Giles County, and I think that'll be the difference here. I like Columbia Central. Independence at Beach.
Man, Shackle Island, tough place to play. I'm going to go with Beach here, but boy, I really, it's hard to pick against Independence right now in that defense. I'm going with the Bucks, but I think it's going to be a one-possession game.
It's hard to pick against.
Probably overtime.
Yeah, it's hard to pick against Independence, but it's really hard to pick against Beach at home. I'm going with the Bucks. Lewis County at Loretto.
Look, bottom line, I got Loretto in this one.
Same. Spring Hill at James Lawson.
Again, I think it's going to be a one-possession game. I think it's going to be. I think it could go either way late. So I'm going to go with Lawson, only because they have more experience winning, and it's at their place.
Yeah, I think home field kind of means a little something in this one. I think Spring Hill's a little bit out of their environment, but Spring Hill's only win came on the road, so
there's that.
There is that. I'm taking the Lightning here. Summertown at Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, Sonics and all, and rivalries and whatnot. Summertown is in a bad spot because Mount Pleasant thought they were going to roll over Harpeth, went up there, had to win late. Not going to happen again. They're not going to overlook anybody else, and Mount Pleasant rolls.
Ask any coach that has played or does play Mount Pleasant, and the first thing they're going to talk to you about is their speed and athleticism.
It's insane.
And Summertown does not have that to the degree that Mount Pleasant does, and it's going to make a difference in this ball game. I've got the Tigers. Summit at Brentwood.
Yeah, again, I don't think Summit's going to get the win here, but don't let this one compound into anything else because Brentwood's a really good football team. Brentwood's probably going to win this region, so I got the Bruins.
Same. That does it for us here for this week's Main Street Maury High School Football Preview Show for Week 5. Be sure and follow us Friday night at Chris Yow 14 on Twitter, at @MoPatton_sports on Twitter, at @MS_sports today for all of the games that we will be involved with. And catch us in print in Main Street Maury, online at mainstreetmaury.com. We'll see you next week.